Yes. Okay.
Okay, got it. Okay, so let me just bring this. Okay. Slideshow. Okay, so all of you know that you made use of your mobile now to opt for the poll, and as well as try to give a feedback on that particular form which was there. So basically, what I'm trying to explain here is, let me just go here. So Appium is an open source tool. Okay, it is used for automating the mobile application, just like Selenium. So someone would have heard of Selenium. Selenium is being popular from 2004. All of you know that Selenium is basically used for automating the web application. But when it comes to Appium, it was introduced in 2012, and it is something on top of Selenium itself. So Appium is an open source. First point, it's an open source tool, and it is used for automating the mobile applications. So that's the second point, and it's basically for iOS. We have iOS, Android, and Windows. So I can put this across in a different way. What is Appium and what are the benefits of Appium? So the next question would be that part, that Appium is an open source tool for automating the mobile app. So that is about Appium. So when it comes to advantage, so using Appium, you can use any other different languages like Java, Python, JavaScript, etc., and you can automate the mobile application. So if you are from a background from, let's say, someone was talking about a fresher and he's a computer science graduate and he knows only JavaScript, so he can go ahead and automate the mobile application just by using JavaScript. And someone is proficient, so let's say 12 years of experience and the person is worked only on Java, he can go ahead and automate the mobile application using Java. So it is not specific to any language. You can write it in any language. Later our server, which is intermediate, will convert it to respective iOS or Android commands. So I would say that will restrict to only iOS and Android. Windows is not much. I'll tell you what is the we can automate Windows, but based on the audience we have across the world, Android accumulates to around 70% of total mobiles, and iOS is gained up now. It's around 29% or something. But rest all is like we have Windows Phone and other phones. So basically, we are concentrating on Android and iOS. Okay, and another benefits being it can automate. There is no other tool like Appium. Selenium, there are alternative, but Appium is a tool which is very which can automate both Android and iOS, and of all three types, native types. There is a mobile types are of three types: native, web, and hybrid. So it can automate all the three types. So that is the main advantage of using Appium. So there is one more tool called Calibash. Even that can do the same functionality, but there are no other tools which can do Android, iOS, and do all this functionality. So that is the main advantage of having Appium. So we got to know that we can use multiple languages for automating the. I mean, we can use different languages, and it is open source. And also, so what do you mean by open source is you don't have to pay for a tool. You just have to download the jar files, whatever is available in the internet, and it will be contributed from Appium, community team. So we just have to use it. Okay, so that's about Appium. So let's move on to the next one. And you might be asking, okay, you understood what is Appium and different languages and all, but what is the current trend in mobile automation? So for that, let's move on to the next slide. Okay. Just a minute, it's kind of stuck. Okay, fine. So let's I just want to explain mobile automation in a different perspective. So let's do one thing. I'll just try to switch to my paint, and I'll try to explain what is the importance of mobile automation. Okay, so now we are in. Okay, let me just. Okay, so 2024. We are in 2024. So let's just try to go back to 2004, which is 20 years back, and one more quick stop at 2014. Okay, so 2004, 2014, and let's just do a recap what we did in 2004. So I remember I was just I think I was in first PU that time, and you guys can just relate about your what were you doing in 2004, just to visualize, give you a visualized picture. We were in 2004, I was in first PU, I guess, and if at all I have to do some kind of bank transactions, so if I have to do some bank transaction, so I just have to go to a bank, and I'll have to stand in a queue. Okay, and there is something they used to call it as a challan that time. Now also it's the same, but we have not got used to doing so much. So in challan, and we are supposed to fill that challan for depositing the money, or if we have to transfer it to someone else. Just let me take a small pause. Is my screen visible, and am I audible? Just one thumbs up would help me.
Yes, yeah.
Sure. Thanks. So all of you just try to visualize this part, 2004, and point where you are trying to fill your challan, and at this point you don't have a pen as well, so you're trying to borrow from someone and try to fill that challan. And when you go at this point, you don't know how to fill the challan, so you're asking one more help to update the challan. And finally, let's say this is SBI Bank. You reached at this point, and finally this person goes for a lunch. Okay, you waited all this, and finally she goes lunch and come back, and finally you do a deposit. So that was our process. I remember this very clearly. That there was no mobile app, or there was no web app also that time. So this was the only thing which we had to supposed to do. Okay, so that was one thing which we did. So post that, things changed. All of you might remember we had BSNL broadband coming in, and even mobile supported hotspot, and we were able to connect our mobile internet to the system, and then we started slowly. The evolution started slowly, and let's move on to the next one, 2014. So this is when I think things were a bit streamlined. Lot of banks came in with net banking, and we were able to just open the browser. It's not your mobile browser; it's a normal browser like the system browser, computer browser. Type in the URL, and as soon as you joined any company, they would give you some kit, welcome kit or something, where username and password would be there. And they would tell you to just log in, click on this link, and use the username, password, login, and do online banking. Okay, so I believe this was the trend what we had in 2014, around 2014, where we was trying to log into the web application. Okay, so let's now shift to 2024, where I'll just ask one quick question for everyone. So how many of you are still using web application? So is anyone using web application? It might be yes, but percentage would be very less, right? So most of them have switched to mobile. So sometimes I myself don't know my username, password of my few banks which I have, and everyone is kind of shifted to mobile app. So that is something in 2024 you can just, it's not just about 2024, just take 4 or 5 years back, you would see everything coming as a mobile app. So we have banking applications, and we have something called as food delivery, Swiggy, Zomato, and we have this shares, Demat account, all this Zerodha, all this stuffs are coming in here. And if you just open your mobile and try to see, you can see there is, most of them are mobile apps. So that is something which will give you, you don't have to always be sticked on to this system computer. Mobile is something which is always there with you. So just using your, just a click or something, you will be able to do whatever you want. So you just order something, it comes to your doorsteps. And there is one more, Amazon and Flipkart. Okay, so this also is there. So just have to order, comes to your home, and banking applications. And we do have all this IoT related stuffs, right? These cameras, all that are coming as a mobile apps. And I just wanted you to feel the web application. What is web app? So I gave you a scanner, and you scanned it, and immediately it took you to one browser, and it showed you the list of questions. So that is nothing but a web app. Okay, just to give you an example, I want to be more practical here. because it's not an entire APM sessions what we would discuss, but what we will discuss will ensure that you will understand this very clearly. So that is my point. So whatever scanner you did, it didn't ask you to install any mobile app. It just directly went to a browser. Maybe you had a Chrome browser or you had a Safari browser. All you did is you just scanned and it directly went to that particular page, and you selected this one. So that is an example of web application. Okay, so this is a context for all of you. I hope you enjoyed this journey of going back and recalling your memory, along with that getting an importance of what is mobile automation. Okay, why is it very important? Because all of them are trying to shift, and with the new trend, like what we have is IoT is also a new trend. So anything which can be hooked to IoT is easier ways to get a mobile and place it near the IoT device. So I do have a mobile application in my place where I'm trying to control my bulb using Alexa, and it is a mobile app. And I'm trying to check what is happening in my native using a camera app, and that is also in mobile. So all of you know the importance that everything is getting shifted to mobile, and mobile automation plays a very huge role in the next at least 5 years for sure. See, things keep changing every 5 years. Okay. We will never know what happens after next 5 years, but I'm pretty much sure that mobile app is something which would stay, and mobile automation would be there. And we are getting all Gen AI, all that is that, but definitely it would just be a catalyst for us to improve our coding skills, improve the quality. Okay, it has nothing to do with anything which will get vanish, or the jobs would get into stake. It's nothing like that. Okay. Fine. So I just wanted to give a recap on this, and on this particular concept, I just have one more activity, which I think all of you would like it. You would love it. So let me just quickly share my screen. Okay. So all of you be in the same page. I mean, you are using that scanner, right? Go to the next one. I'll just present it. Wait, I'll present it. Okay, this is done. So we know how many people experience and all we got to know. So, okay, so this is not the one I'm looking for because I would take this a bit later. Okay, so there is one small quiz here that all of you look into your mobile. I'm presenting it. So someone can answer this. So you guys are around the same time zone as I am. So which bank started net banking in India? No looking into internet and answering. Please just answer genuinely. There's nothing like right or wrong answer. Okay. So good, you guys are interacting. Okay, let's wait for all of them and then we'll get started with the next slide. Okay. Kannada Bank and only ICICI. No one is for SBI. Is it because just I told SBI in my example that they go for lunch pretty soon? Is that the reason? Or someone came for SBI? That's good. No Union Bank? Okay. Just a thumbs up from your side if you're done. I would just take it as you guys are done. Okay. I want to see if you guys are okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for replying. Yeah, I think the right answer is actually ICICI Bank. It was the one which introduced the net banking in India in 1998. So, but I think that time internet was not that efficient. Maybe that's why we didn't see that in 2004 or something where I explained. But the right answer is ICICI. Okay, cool. Then I think we will move on to the next slides. There are a lot of things to discuss actually. I just wanted to set your context and then come here. And that is how we just wanted to start. And one more thing, I just want to know, someone who is in automation, but has anyone worked on Appium 1.0? I just want to know if there is any percentage of people working on Appium 1.0. So please, kind of respond. If you have not worked on Appium at all, make it as no. No problem. If someone has worked on Appium 1.0, I just want to know if someone has worked. Okay, that's good. Okay, we do have some audience from 1.0. I'll explain you what is Appium 1.0, 2.0, guys. Whoever is marked as no, don't worry about what is Appium 1.0. That's just a context for me to understand what, I mean, if someone is already worked on automation on Appium. So 75% says no and 25% says yes. Okay, got it. Okay, got it, guys. Okay, so let's move on. Oh, there's 22. So it shifted. I think people with no experience on mobile automation are more in this particular group. Okay. Yeah, I would kind of phrase it now. 75% would be no and 25% would be no. Yes. Okay. Okay, guys. I think now let's move on to the next slide. I think this was a brief, just to get an idea like how who's the audience. Is anyone worked on mobile automation already? And to get a context, that was all about. And just we'll move on to the next slide. Now, this is something which I wanted to dedicate to my participant. By giving you an example, what would happen is, let me just give an example. Just try to explain it over the paint. And a couple of you have really joined this workshop on a Saturday, and that is why I just wanted to take few minutes to dedicate this to you, that you definitely have made some good decision where you're trying to enhance your skill. And as I told you, this is not going to be a proper training where everything only on Appium would be done and you guys would get bored. We wanted this to be more interactive, and that is why we have put on a lot of slides in between so that you understand what is the importance of this workshop. And we would not want you to just forget this after next week. So if it is next Saturday or Sunday, you shouldn't forget about this workshop. At least 10% or 20% what we tell in this particular workshop, you should be able to remember and try to integrate with your work lifestyle. So that is the main intent of this workshop. So I'll just try to give an example here with this, and on a serious note, we can get started on Appium architecture after this. Okay, so let me just shift to this notepad. So all of you, I think let me just create a x-axis and y-axis, and all participants who are around 20 participants have opted to work on, take the session, and I would call this as a time, and this is a moment called as pleasure, and this is pain. Currently, I'll just drop you guys in pain. Currently, I'll tell you what the reason is. So it's a weekend Saturday, and all of your friends are trying to just go for a movie, or they're trying to say they're going out for somewhere on a trip or somewhere. But you opted here, to attend this workshop session, and you're at this point that thinking, I have to spend 4 more hours. But I'll tell you what would be the trend going forward if you are working on a similar fashion. So pain initially, yes, you're trying to understand Appium, which is new. For 75% people, it is new. So definitely, learning something new, your brain will definitely tell, no, let's do something. Let me catch up with this guy. Let me go for a movie. And anyways, I've just paid only 150 rupees here. Why don't I go for a movie? 250. I'll pay 250. And where popcorn is more than movie ticket, so I'll spend this and I'll just try to have this part, pleasure. But no, you opted this part, and they would go for a movie, and eventually they'll forget the movie and they would have achieved nothing. They are in manual testing, they want to shift to Appium, but they've not done any effort. But you guys try to have this workshop, and you automated at least a calculator. I'll give an example as one calculator application you have automated by following all the steps which are there in the workshop. You have done a setup in your machine, and then second step is you understood what is Appium, and post that you try to what do I say? trigger your mobile application, calculator application, and you are successful. So initially this would be painful, but to understand, and it will be a lot of configuration issues. That is the main reason why we are here. In Appium, one thing gets stuck, you'll not be able to proceed. So many configurations are there. Selenium, just add a jar file to your pom.xml and things will start working. But Appium, you have done, you have installed something, Appium, something doesn't work. If ADB doesn't work, it will not integrate. And all that stuff would be there. That is a pain part. But once you are done with the configuration, and finally you would proceed into pleasure. Okay. So this is an example of, just you cannot do anything overnight. That is what I'm trying to say. Today you are trying to work on Appium one section. Tomorrow you do some incremental changes. Post that, you will definitely fall into this place where you are more secure. The job is more secure because you know mobile automation as well. It's not just mobile automation. Just add it, put it to anything. Like if you want to communicate well in meetings, try to talk at least in stand up. Just talk something that you have some doubt and start interacting. First day it might be painful, second day it might be painful. Over the period of, let's say, 180 days, you would have definitely got something where you can communicate very effectively with your stakeholders, or in the PO, product owners, or with your manager. So apply it for anything in this in our life. Communication, if you are a developer and you want to do something, so write one code every day. And if you're a tester, try to understand what is testing all about, understand the basics of it. And someone is into ISTQB certification, they want to do ISTQB certification, and they cannot do it on 20th, 18th I'll prepare and I'll go on 20th and write the exam. So that wouldn't be possible. So all I'm trying to say is, we are in this phase currently. 1 hour, almost 45 minutes has been spent. But I want to set a clear context that, this, whatever workshop is that, is not going to be only on Appium. I want you to kind of include this kind of, I would call it as incremental changes. These are called incremental changes, and just follow that for anything. I mean, maybe at personal life also, you can apply this incremental changes. And that is how it will definitely do a lot of it's called as marginal gain. I'll explain that in the next time, but right now I would call it as a marginal gain. I'll give a very good example on this in the next session. Let's talk with the Appium, but just follow this, and I'm pretty much sure you will be able to achieve something over a period of like 6 months or 4 months from now. Okay, so let's shift to our actual, and one more thing I wanted to give a proper example is someone who's gone to gym. This is the best example. Okay, I'm pretty much sure most of you would have gone to gym, or maybe know the culture of the gym. So there are 5 days, and every day they work on one day chest, on one day they'll work on leg. I think Friday is leg and biceps. So do you think the first week or second or 2 weeks of gym is pleasurable? No, it will be a pain. You see a person who is coming out from a gym Friday, and you'll be literally crawling on the stairs. That's a pain which he gets. Okay, he'll not be a happy person. He'll not be a pleasurable person. He would just be in pain. But you see him after 2 months of consistency. Let him. I'm just talking about the people who are consistent. Who are 2 months of consistent gym. He is in a pleasurable moment. He looks fit. He thinks fit, and everything is kind of fit. Okay, so I forgot this part where gym is the best example, and you are also in a gym currently, understanding new concepts and all. But I'm pretty much sure you will definitely be in this pleasurable moment very soon. Okay, so thanks for that. That was second. I wanted to dedicate this because you have spent your weekend, and this is something which I wanted to explain. So yeah, and now let me do one thing. Let's concentrate on Appium workshop. Okay, any questions at this moment? If anyone has any question here, I know it was not, but on mobile automation, has anyone questions? Appium, why Appium, and what are the advantages? No questions there? Okay, good. I think I know there was not much discussed, so we can just shift 1 second. I was using that marker, and this is not working. Okay, let's shift to the slide. So this is what I was trying to explain with a practical example. So habit, whatever habit is there currently, short-term consequence, you might feel it is a pleasure, where going through the reels or watching movie because it's a weekend. It might be pleasurable, but over a period of time, doing the same activity for long term would definitely be a painful, because you wouldn't have updated your skills or something like that. So it would be painful. But right now, painful because weekend you definitely want to go out, but you dedicated 2 hours, 3 hours on having on learning something new, and long term consequence would be it should be a pleasurable moment. Okay, and let me do a slideshow and see. We'll go to the next slide. Okay, I think this is for a break point, but I would not take at this moment because we're all good. I mean, we just kind of went through what is Appium advantages, and now let's do one thing. We'll try to understand what is Appium architecture. The reason is take it any technology. If you understand the architecture very well, that would give you a very high level overview of what are the components which would be available in the entire end-to-end scenario, and then you would be able to relate it much better. So I'm taking an example of Appium 2.0. So whoever has done 1.0, W3C protocol would be replaced by JSON wire protocol. And whoever has not worked on Appium 1.0, forget about 1.0. No one is using 1.0 nowadays. We'll just directly jump into 2.0. Okay, so I'll explain you what is 1.0, 2.0 for your interview purpose, because that might be a question for you. So I told you to carry your notepad and pen, right? Just make a note of this architecture. Would be very helpful for you guys. When I'm explaining you, just make a note of what is what, and this is a very important interview question. Okay, so Appium 1.0. I'll just try to tell what is 1.0. They were using something called as JSON wire protocol, which is no more available in existing architecture. It is always W3C protocol. Okay, and Appium 1.0 made use of Appium server, which was having all this as bundled as one. Okay, and it was not a separate entity. It was all bundled as one. But Appium 2.0 started with having decoupling. They call it as a decoupling, which means desktop is different, driver, plugin, inspector, everything is different. Okay, let's now understand from a practical point of view, what is Java client, what is Appium client, what is this protocol all about, and what is Appium server, and what are these drivers. All this we'll try to understand. Okay, so I'll just try to give an example here. Again, I always try to shift to paint, because it gives me a picture of actually a live session, offline session, where I'll be able to explain it much better. So if you feel that is more comfortable, let me know. I'll switch to that, or else if you feel this diagram itself is okay, we can definitely talk and we can do. But initially, I'll just try to switch to that. First, let's try to understand what is Appium client. I told you in the earlier slides that we can write code in any language and automate mobile app. So Appium client is all about you writing some bindings in your language specific. So you can write in Java, JavaScript, C#, Python, and Ruby, and just if you send those commands to Appium server, it goes as a W3C protocol. What is W3C protocol? We have World Wide Web. There's one protocol which our browsers are implementing currently, and after that, Selenium started implementing W3C protocol. So if someone is from Selenium background, you guys can relate it. So earlier it was JSON wire protocol itself, but now everyone is shifted to W3C protocol because the browsers shifted to W3C protocol. And from whatever commands you send, let's say you wanted to click on an element, you will tell driver dot. Don't worry about this syntax. I'm trying to explain an architecture. So what is driver? You don't know. I'll explain you in detail later. So you'll say driver dot find element on some particular element dot click. So this command goes through W3C protocol as a protocol, and it goes to Appium server. In Appium server, it would interpret it. Okay, this fellow has written code for iOS, so I need to trigger iOS driver, and it will convert that respective command into a command which is understandable by this particular iOS, and it would click on the real device or emulator or simulator. I'll explain you what is emulator, simulator, but right now understand that it would trigger whatever is sent from this particular client, and it would trigger it on that particular mobile device. So basically it follows client server architecture only, but only difference is with 1.1 and 2.0 is only this protocol. Okay, so I'll just give you 30 seconds. Please make a note of this architecture, which would definitely be asked in any mobile automation interviews. Just make a note. I'll just give you 30 seconds. Okay, so just make a note of it. And if you are not, if you feel this is very fast, please let me know. This is our first interaction, so I don't know the audience much, so I would like to know any feedback. If you feel you want me to go a bit slower, explaining the concepts, I'll do that. No worries on that. So this is very important, guys. I'll make a note like this. Whichever is important for interview, just add this to your notepad.
Sir, can you just explain the flow once again?
Yeah, definitely. Whole architecture? Yes, sure. I'll do that. Okay, so please make a note of this in your notepad. Okay. So this is how we'll go. We'll give some time. We in future sessions you might get this particular PPT, but you'll not be able to articulate much. But if you write it in your notepad, okay. Sandeep told me that Appium client is something which is we write the code in Eclipse. So let's say this is in Eclipse, we'll write it. So we'll write this Java code. Okay, just make a note of it, and then we'll tell Appium server. Okay, Appium server earlier it was all bundled into one, but now it is decoupled into desktop, drivers, plugins, and inspector. So just make a note of that. And last thing is we have different drivers available where it is XUI test is for iOS and UI automated 2 is for Android. Okay, so if you make a note of this, and next time when you're reading it, you will get a very fair understanding of what you've understood. If you didn't understand, again you can go to this architecture, right, and you can. Okay, so now let me do one thing. I'll try to explain. Whoever has asked me, I just want to explain them again. So we know that we write our code in. I want to give it in this format, IntelliJ. I'll write my code in IntelliJ is nothing but an editor where I write my code. So I'll write a code that in Java. I'll prefer using Java because this entire workshop is also on Java. But you can use any language. You can use Python. You can use Ruby, C#, JavaScript. I worked on C# as Uma was telling. I worked on Java. I worked a bit on Python also. So it is working absolutely fine. No issues on that. So I'll write a code that let's say we'll take a simple application under test. Application under test. All these are testing terminologies. Whoever is not from testing, don't worry. This you will eventually learn when you start doing testing. So application under test is calculator. Let's say you want to click on 7. Okay, this is in a real device. Now what you do is you write a code in Appium client that driver dot find element by dot id and whatever the id is there dot click. So this is your command in Appium client. So this would go to via. This is called via. It will not go through. It is not a block. It is just a protocol. Protocol is set of standards or something like that. Okay. So it goes via. It has a W3C protocol to a Appium server. It goes into Appium server. This is our Appium server. Appium server has capability to recognize what kind of engine I need to trigger. There are multiple engines. You can call it as Android engine, iOS engine, Windows engine, and all. And what happens basically is you will have to trigger. It will tell that this guy, whoever is there, he wants this in Android. So he sent that capabilities in Android. Trigger this one. So it will go and trigger XUIT driver, and that driver internally will get acted upon, and the 7 will be clicked on that. Okay. So similarly, this will follow the same action. So whatever you write it in Java client would go through Appium server. And how does it know whether it's Android or iOS? You will only mention it as a part. It's called as desired capabilities. We call it as desired capabilities. I'll explain it later, but it's called desired capability. You will only tell that, okay, I want to run in this mission, and server picks it up and finally goes to automation driver, and finally the respective 7 is got clicked. Okay, so whoever has asked that question, is this more clear now?
Yes, sir, it is clear.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, so this is about Appium architecture. I'll give you 30 seconds. You can make a note of it. Okay, I'll just bring in timer also. We might tend to lose time. I don't want to do that. So I'll just try to bring timers every now and then. We'll give 30 seconds because I believe in that, it will definitely work. Initially, let's go in this space, and I'll just definitely pick it up fast. The reason is we have a wide different variants of audience here, and I want to make sure that everyone understands it better. Okay, so I'll do one thing. I think Uma can take it from now. I'll just take a 5 minutes break, and I'll come back. You just try to understand this architecture very well. Reason is very important interview question. This will definitely be asked if you are going for a 2 years of experience in mobile automation or 1 year of experience. They'll definitely ask, because in 5 years the Appium 2.0 architecture got changed. It didn't change at all. Only in 2022 or 23 it changed, and they would like to know what is Appium 2.0. So just make a note of it. Uma, can you just take it from here for a 5 minutes? We'll take a short break. We'll come back and we can get started on a second.
Sorry, Sandeep, just 1 minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Here you just explained about how to make the connection to the Android and iOS, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So in the when it is the connection when it is the configuration about to Android, means there are also some versions are there, right?
Mm-hmm. Correct. That will be in the next session. We'll have one session, prerequisite. We call it as a prerequisite. Someone asked yesterday. All that would be explained in prerequisite. This is just a high-level architecture for you to understand.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So I'll just give 5 minutes break. I'll just have some water. You guys also just make a note of this. We'll quickly come at maybe when it is done, I'll be real time. Okay. Just give me 5 minutes. Uma, you can just also talk on any other aspects of any workshops which are coming. We'll let the audience be knowing about any new workshops. Yeah. I'll just be back.
Even let them take a break for 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, all of you take a break of 5 minutes. We'll come back in just 5 minutes. We'll start with very interactive sessions next time. I mean, there's very good sessions coming forward. Okay. I'll just have some water. I hope everyone is back as well. A thumbs up.
Please provide thumbs up.
Yeah. Okay, all of you are back. Good. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. We have next session aligned. I think let's go to what are the different types of apps. Okay, I'll explain it because it is one of the interview question which would be asked for a manual testing team who are interested in mobile automation, manual testing. So they would definitely have a fair idea of what is native web and hybrid application. But let's try to understand it much clearer. Let's go to Paint and I'll explain it. So let's try to understand what are the different types of mobile apps. Okay. So the mobile apps can be broadly classified. As I told you, Appium is an open source to automate mobile apps, and it can also automate native web and hybrid app. So we will try to understand what are the different types of mobile apps. So let me just first take it as native app and web app, and there's one more app called as hybrid app. These are broadly classified. Okay, there are still many things which are coming like progressive web app and all, but this would be the initial thing for us to get started. So first thing is web app. Okay, so what you guys did is you just scanned the QR code, and it didn't ask you to install the application, and it just took you to the browser instance. In a browser, it launched that particular thing. So that is an example of web app. You don't need a mobile application as such, and this is called a web app. So if someone has booked the ticket in VRL, you would have got the ticket, right? They would tell this URL, something like a URL. And if you click on that URL, you will get a ticket with all the details. So these people, they don't want to invest so much on a mobile app which would render the ticket and all. They just want to click a URL and you will get the tickets, and it's on a temporary basis. After 1 month, they will flush all this data out because they don't need all this information. So web app is something which is rendered on a mobile browser, and you will be able to perform some limited operations on that. If not limited, I would say something on a browser, whatever the capability it has some restrictions, but whatever capability it has, you can make use of it, and it's very easy to do a web application. I'll tell you how. Let's say you are a CEO of a person, CEO of a company, and you have designed a application already, web application, normal web application, and you think, okay, I've done all this stuff, now people are using mobile, let me help them to open it. You just have to render this in the web browser, and that's it. You don't have a specific mobile app. You are just telling them, whatever is there here just has to be rendered in the mobile web application. What do you mean by mobile web? Is nothing but in your mobile you will have something like Chrome, or maybe you'll have Safari. You open that browser and just type the URL. That becomes a web application. It has nothing to do like you have to go to a Play Store or App Store. We call it as App Store in iOS, a Play Store in Android, and you don't have to download any particular application. So that's called as web application, which can be designed using HTML, CSS, basic. So this is about web application. Okay, so first thing, understood what is web application? What you already experienced it. So you now get a fair idea what is web application. Does anyone have any question?
Yes, Sandeep. Testing any browser in the mobile is different from testing any application in the PC or something. Why? Because of when it is the handling about web-based application, two things are there, right? In the PC or else in the mobile. So as you said, we are opening that particular browser in the mobile means, is it differentiated with the opening the same browser in the PC?
Yeah, see, what happens basically is in your system, you're telling in your system, you're opening the browser and you're trying to launch one application, google.com. Let's say one railway, IRCTC, okay?
Yes.
That is a web application, okay? Mobile web is nothing but on your mobile, if you open the web browser and launch it, right? That is called mobile web. Mobile web app.
Because in these two conditions, the interface is same, right?
Correct. Yeah, that is right. That is what I was trying to say. If you have automated this application using Selenium, it's very easy to use the same code and run it in the mobile also. Both are same because the same HTML, CSS is used in this also. But
the architecture is different, right?
No, architecture won't be different. I'll tell you, explain it. Wait. Yeah. So let's say this is our web application. I'll just try to give this diagram so that you'll not confuse. Okay. In this you try to open a browser, and let's say Chrome browser, and you try to do some browser. You try to launch. Okay. Same URL. If you give it in mobile, let me give this like this so that this is like iPhone. In mobile, there is a Safari browser or any other browser. You just give the same URL here also, it will open what was here, same thing it will show, but it would be something very limited to mobile. On a mobile responsive it will show. So this is what this is not in, we are not in this, we are not interested in this because it's a web application.
Okay.
What we are interested is this, whatever is rendered here is nothing but a web app, mobile web app. Okay, this is more clear for you?
Yes, it is clear. But one small doubt is when it is a discussion about architecture, as you said that W3C protocol will be there in between client and Appium, right? Server.
Correct. Yes.
But when it comes to Selenium, JSON wire protocol or HTTP will be there in between clients. Means client level.
No, that is changed. No, that is changed. Even Selenium is using W3C now. So everyone shifted to W3C. First, actually, Selenium shifted to W3C, and now Appium also shifted to W3C. Okay. So your confusion was it was in JSON, right? No, it is not in JSON. It's W3C now. Everyone is shifted to W3C. Why these people shifted? Others who are like don't understand this, don't worry. What is W3C is nothing but all the browsers. They decided that we need to comply with W3C. So all the browsers like Chrome, Safari, Firefox, and Edge, everyone shifted their existing system to W3C. So what happened? Selenium guys also thought, okay, if those guys have shifted, if we have it in JSON, it's not the seamless experience will not be there. We will also shift to W3C. So Selenium also shifted to W3C from 4.0. We have version called 3.5 something. It was in W3C. I mean, it was in JSON wire protocol. After 4, everyone started shifting to W3C. And Appium realized, okay, my brother, Selenium is like a brother for Appium. My brother shifted to W3C. I am still in Appium 1.0. Let me shift to 2.0, where 2.0 is all about W3C. So they also shifted to W3C.
Okay,
I think now it's clear, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I think someone want to make a note. 10 seconds. Quickly make a note. Web app. It makes use of W3C protocol. Sorry, it's not WC. I got diverted. Anything which is rendered on a mobile browser is nothing but a web app. You don't have to install any mobile app. Just a small point for you to recapture it later. Okay, so this is about web app. The reason why I first shifted to web app is because I gave you the QR code, and that will explain you what is web app. That's why I wanted to shift to that. Just give me 1 second. I'm getting a call. Just give me 1 second. Hello. Hello, na. ಆರಾಮ ನೀ ಆರಾಮ ಹೌದಣ್ಣ
If you are speaking, you are on mute.
So yeah, sorry. Thanks for that. Thanks for that reminder. Yeah, sorry about that call. I had some important call, so I just took that. Okay, so let's move on to the native app. Okay, native app is something like it is very specific to the domain. what I mean to say is specific to domain is, let's say you are again, we'll just assume all of you are CEO of one of the company, and you are trying to build a product, and that product is very good. I mean, it's something like, maybe think as a WhatsApp or something like that, which would definitely be in market, and it would give you a lot of revenues for you. And where the user experience is very important, the user experience, and it has to make use of your mobile capability, like battery, your mobile related requirements, and all that is required for it, and you want to design it. So what you think is, you think this is a very potential app for your company, that it will come up with more revenue in the future, but I need to do a bit of investment. So definitely investment is required, right? So you are trying to develop a mobile app, and which is on so many platforms, which is on both Android and iOS, and you definitely have to recruit Android developers and testers, and iOS developers. And I mean, tester is always a unique guy, so he's a proper he's a quality guy, but developer is different, and iOS developer is different, because the reason is, Android has a different architecture and iOS has a different architecture. So let's say there is one calculator application in iOS. If you try to install it in Android, it will not work, right? Because it's a different architecture. This is altogether a different architecture. So this CEO, he hired Android developers, and Android developers will come here and they will start developing. This is the requirement for that application. Okay, RFQ requirement. RFE or something, what do you call it as requirement? Okay, that is that. And the Android guy started writing the code. How would he write the code? He will use Eclipse or IntelliJ or something like that, and he will use a language called as Java or Kotlin, and he will start writing the code and to meet this requirement. The requirement is something like this. The login should initially it will have some login, not a login. Nowadays logins and all are very rare. Some passcode or something, and after that, once you enter, it will show the application where there are 1, 2, 3 buttons are there. Android guy is done. He's writing this code, but this is written in Java, Kotlin, and Eclipse. These are the different languages. This is OOPS. Here basically we are making use of OOPS concept here, and this is a developer. But iOS developer is altogether a different guy. So your HR will call whoever is iOS developer, please start sending me your resume, and we are going to recruit. The reason is, iOS goes with if they write the code in Xcode editor, they will make use of Swift-C language. Xcode, Swift-C. So this guy also comes along with this person, iOS. He also sits in the same office, and he starts writing the code to do the same thing in iOS. Okay. And once it is finally done, this guy will push it to App Store, this guy will push it to Android Play Store. Finally, the app is available, and it really, let's be very optimistic that this person estimated it well, and he is getting a very good revenue after both are got released. The reason is, iOS and Android separately, when it is designed as a native app, it is designed to work in only that platform, and it makes use of the native libraries and native components to perform very well. But only drawback of native app is that it is very expensive. You need to bring in one guy from an Android developer. He will develop the application, and you will have to bring in an iOS developer. I'm just telling one. You never know, if the requirement is more, you might have to get 5 Android, 5 iOS. And you know how the package is nowadays for the developers. So it is very expensive. And native app developing is very expensive, time consuming, and there are 2 different code base they have to maintain. Okay, 2 different code base. One is for Android, one is for iOS. So in GitHub, they have to push, Android developer has to push it to Android, and iOS has to push it to iOS. Finally, testing team, definitely, they have to test everything which is around. And finally, so very expensive, but thing is, it gives a very good user experience, and it is for application where it has to consume something from your native libraries. So just for you to understand currently, you just think as soon as you get a new Android phone, whatever comes in your mobile it is as good as a native app. calculator. We have this alarm. All this is developed using Xcode, this Swift C only and Xcode, and they have put it into that platform. So, and these are all good as having, and this is called as native app. Okay, it's very, it's something designed for that particular platform and very expensive, and will one code base will not work for the other system. So this is about native app. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. I think we will move on to the next one, which is nothing but hybrid app. I think is it not working? Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll just open a new notepad. Okay. Guys, any doubt here at this moment? You understood what is web app, what is native. So now we will move on to something which is a kind of between both web app and native app. So that is called as a hybrid app. So let's shift to the third one, which is called as hybrid app. Sorry about my handwriting. I'm not got used to writing nowadays. So hybrid app. Okay, so hybrid app is nothing but okay. You told me, okay, you guys would tell me that okay, web app is something which is on a browser, and native app is something on for a particular platform, specific to some platform. So there is one kind of trade-off which we can do, that we'll pick something from web where it will work on both, and we'll pick something from native, make it one hybrid app, which is called hybrid, which is nothing but it will look like a native. It looks like as if it is designed particularly to that platform. But as someone rightly asked, it will work on web, and it will, web app is something which works on both web, normal desktop, as well as on your mobile. Something like that also can work in between here, right? So we'll do something like this. So it gives a feeling of native, but somewhere there will also be a web component where there will be some kind of switch happening between these two. Okay, and this will be less expensive than native, but more expensive than web. That is the filter. I mean, that is how it stands in. So if you expensive, native app would be very expensive. Web app would be somewhere here, but somewhere here we should draw a line and say that this is something related like a hybrid app, where it is somewhere between these two. Okay, so basically we have three types of app. One is mobile app, one is web app, one is mobile app, and the other one is hybrid app. And Appium is a tool which can automate all the three types of apps. This is one of the best features of Appium. Currently, if you go into a market and tell, I'll use Selenium for web application, automating the web application, many guys will come and tell, okay, this is time consuming, let me use Cypress, let me use Playwright, that is more nice nowadays. And someone will tell Tosca, one guy will tell, they'll tell. But if you go and tell, I'll use Appium for mobile automation, very less people would come with this counterpart. There are very less competition for Appium, because these guys have done everything for everything. So you can just see three types of app. It will automate iOS, Android, Windows also, and you can write the language in JavaScript, Java, everything. So that is the importance of Appium. So altogether, you understood what is mobile app. Let's quickly shift to the next interesting components what we have. Very practical one. So I hope you all have a laptop with you. So you'll have to, make a note very quickly, because there is such a huge setup required that it will really take a lot of time. So I just don't want to miss that part, because there are a lot of tutorials in Udemy, YouTube. Everyone has not updated the tutorial from 1.0 to 2.0. No one is giving you that kind of training, or maybe they're giving you training, but it would be very high level. So, but for us, we want to make sure that workshop should be such a place that we unblock you from installation. We bring a setup in your machine by following the proper steps, and then we will ensure that you are able to write first code at least. Okay, let me really bring next screen what we have. Okay, so this is what I explained: native app, web app, and hybrid app. Okay, now we will move on to what are the prerequisites to start running the test. Okay, so I will explain everything one by one, but notepad is important, pen is important nowadays. I mean, for you guys. Just make a note what to do. Okay. Okay. So first one is you preferred language. So I'll just make like step by step so that you can copy it. Java. See, primarily we are telling we are making use of a Java language, programming language, and the first thing to be installed is definitely Java. We have to install Java. Please install Java 17. Don't install 8, 9 or something like that. Please go and install Java 17. So how do you do that? I'll just show that 17. I'll just explain 2-3 steps here and immediately go to browser and explain you how to install and set up. So Java is a programming language which you know that we'll be using. Once you install the Java, second step is you need to set the environment variable. I'll tell you what is environment.